All right, salutations, my Mgtow brethren. Let us continue on with hopefully the last part of Tom Leykis versus Kay Heimowitz, the leftist scumbag.
Movies that women enjoy. There's implication. Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey or certain kinds of TV shows, what have you. No mention in here of the kind of television programming or movies that women enjoy. There's implication that women are interested in serious novels and serious film and serious theater. But who is watching shows like The Insider, Entertainment Tonight, Extra, anything that has to do with Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan? Who is reading and consuming all of that material?
You couldn't be more correct. I totally agree with you. I think that both women and men in this culture are very attracted to trash.
Why would I?
No. Notice how she said women and men are attracted to trash. No, it's much more women. It's much more women. Like if you watch a show like, I don't know, like Ricky Lake or, I don't know, any of these like daytime soaps or, whatever, Extra, like he was saying, it's mostly women. It's mostly women by a large factor. It's probably like somewhere between 70 and 80%. Okay, so she's always lying. She's always lying and deflecting.
I discuss the political ramifications of 2008 with somebody who's more concerned about whether Britney Spears.
Okay, he said 2008. So maybe this is way back in the 2000s. This is a while ago. It was over 10 years ago. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit.
This is in rehab, then.
But basically the point is women, they don't develop their minds, mostly because they don't have to, right? We're interested in having sex with them as long as they're attractive. That's all we care about. She doesn't want to admit that.
Is about when the primary tell the listeners, and that is the more attractive a woman is generally, the less likely it is that she knows who's running for president.
Well, I don't know. I've never done the kind of research you have, Tom, on this.
I've been doing in the field research.
Yes.
I'm an amateur anthropologist.
And I don't profess to be much of a beauty myself, but I certainly know.
Okay, and just to let you gentlemen know, you can look it up yourself. I have looked up Kay Heimowitz, and no, she is not a beauty. She's more like the Beast. So, yeah.
Very beautiful women who do know who's running for president, and
You really think so? So you're telling me there are a bunch of 9s and 10s out there who are anxious to get into a conversation? Not many.
I think if you're really that focused on.
Well, when men are, but here's the deal: when men are rich and successful, they don't have to be radio personalities. They can be doctors, lawyers, what have you. They can afford the youngest, hottest women out there.
If that's what they're looking for, but those marriages will not last.
I mean, let's be realistic.
Okay, so I'm jumping ahead. I'm skipping ahead like 10 seconds or so at a time. Okay, so notice how he made another good point. Once you establish yourself and you start making really good money, you can literally date women instead of just 5s or 6s. These girls that are okay or cute. You can start dating 7s, and 8s. And she doesn't like that either. This woman doesn't like anything that he's saying, but it's all true, and we know it as Mgtow. Spread this message.
There's a reason the pictures of Pierce Brosnan's wife, Pierce Brosnan, are never with.
Well, you do look for
water seeks its own level. I say it all the time.
Exactly, but you also have to realize that you're living in a very
talk about politics with. I just wouldn't want to see them naked.
Which people generally
okay. Here's a good point right here.
Want more than just that kind of connection.
I know. By the way, I know women I love to talk about politics with. I just wouldn't want to see them naked.
Well, and it sounds like you won't. So I hope for their sake you do not.
I hope for my sake I do not.
Zing. Okay, so that's another good point he brings up. Yes, there are some women who are intellectual. However, the vast majority of them are not particularly attractive. She also doesn't like hearing that. Now, Kay Heimowitz is, I think it's fair enough to say, she's an intellectual, but she's not a looker by any stretch of the imagination. So, but they don't like to admit that either.
We'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll take some calls for our guest, Kay Heimowitz. She's contributing editor for City Journal, and we will continue with your telephone calls momentarily. 1-800-5800.
How are you doing? And yes, I do care.
Doing great.
Kay, I had a couple questions for you. I know.
Okay, this is my favorite part. It really gets to the heart of this woman's insecurities.
She said you have 2 daughters. Are they your only kids?
No, I have a son.
You have a son too?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any grandchildren?
I wish.
That's exactly what I was gathering from the article.
You think you know what's driving my article?
Yeah, it just seems like you're kind of bitter that nobody's taking care of your daughters for you. It seems like you're kind of hoping one of us successful guys with our stuff together wants to give them that little, white picket fence and those babies that you've been waiting for them to have.
Well, I prefer we didn't get speculate about my motives on this. It is true that I tend to, because I have children of a certain age, I tend.
Okay, it's a good time to stop it right there. Yeah. Okay. So notice what just happened. So this man basically said, "Now hold on a second. You wrote this article." And what are you doing in this article? In this article, you're talking about men and you're speculating about their motives. What? Notice how she says, I would prefer if we do not speculate about my motives. Why is it okay for her to speculate about the motives of men and why they're not marrying, but it's not okay for men to speculate about her motives? That's a double standard, is it not? But again, she doesn't care because it's all about double standards with feminists.
To become curious about the world they're living in. My girls are not looking for somebody to give them that picket fence. I mean, they would like to.
Okay, so she just said her daughters are not looking for that person to give them the picket fence. So is she saying that her daughters don't want to get married? I thought she does believe in marriage. And so by that definition, she would probably... It stands to reason that she would teach her daughters to get married, and she does in fact want her children to get married, right? That's what she's pushing, right? So, but now notice how she just said, "Oh no, but they're not looking for that." This woman's talking out of both sides of her mouth.
Find a good relationship, like most young people would like to find a good relationship. And I actually, as I said earlier in the show, wasn't so much driven by their own experiences as the experience of some slightly older women in their 30s, and also just the general sense you get from websites, from TV shows like or shows like Sex and the City, that there is.
Okay, so notice how she says, "Oh yeah, I'm getting communications, I'm getting letters and emails from particularly women in their 30s." It's like, again, this is everything that Mgtow teaches. It's like when the girls are young and hot, all right, when they're 22 and they're the hottest thing, they're not thinking about this. But 10 years later, when they're in their 30s, especially when they're in their upper 30s, they go into panic mode. And, that ass don't shake like it used to. And the men, are not checking for them like that. And so, again, it's just, this is completely gynocentric. She keeps just, hammering away about, men should marry women. She claims that she believes in marriage. And then a second later, a minute later, she says, "Oh, yeah, no, but I'm not, my daughters aren't necessarily looking to get married." It's like, yes, they are. Why can't you just admit that? These women cannot admit their true intentions, because their true intentions, if you understand game theory, is to secure resources. And they want to do that using a legal contract called marriage, where they essentially enslave the man. Remember that. Pass that along. Continuing on.
This problem between the sexes. I'm going over my email during our breaks. And
it's not a problem between the sexes. Women are no longer getting what they want and they're complaining. But screw them. If they change the law and make us second-class citizens in divorce court, in family court, then we should boycott it, right?
And just staggered by the kind of poisonous bitterness that I hear on both sides, men and women, towards each other. So clearly, we are not on the same wavelength here, men and women. And, I think that at the very least, this article is bringing that out in the open.
1-800-5800-TOM. Catherine on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Hey, Tom, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Hey, Kate.
This part,
and it needs to be redone.
that part isn't that great. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it there. There's more. This is, oh man, I'm only like 17 minutes in or something. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. And I highly recommend that you guys check this out. Again, this is Tom Leykis conversing with Kay Heimowitz. Kay Heimowitz, hardcore leftist, feminist, man-hating. She doesn't want to admit the courts favor the women. And men, we are finally learning this. And it's getting to the point, in my opinion, women are starting to panic. Women are starting to panic. This is an old interview. Things have gotten even worse now. So I'll leave it at that. All my Mgtow brethren, remember, bros before hoes. Or, I'm sorry, I mean brethren before wenches. All right, bye now.